Thank heaven for little girls, for little girls get bigger every day.
This is James Kalm, the guy on the bike, welcoming back our viewership for another half-ass production, and we're down here in Brooklyn in the Gowanus district. I'm gonna pay a studio visit to Mike Cockrill as he prepares for his upcoming exhibition at Kent Fine Art. Stay tuned. Okay. I'm here with the studio of Mike Cockrill. James Kalm.
Hey, it's James Kalm.
Hey, Mike.
Hi. So, welcome to Mr. Rogers' neighborhood.
All right. Thanks for inviting me over. Let's just take a little
This one,
run around the studio and see what you're working on here. And there's also going to be some works on paper, right?
Right.
Oh man, I never had a den mother like that when I was in the Boy Scouts. I wonder what merit badge those guys are working on.
What I'm working on right now are my sculptures. I haven't had sculptures.
Oh, you were telling me about dog golfers, and I was wondering what that was all about. Okay.
Yeah, these are guys that I remember from my childhood. Because basically, the whole story is I grew up in Washington, D.C., and all the dads were like CIA, FBI, Pentagon, and you really didn't know what was going on. It seemed very mysterious. And so it was like the subtext. When you look at these golfers, no one will know that...
This dog worked for the FBI. Okay.
Yeah, this is the FBI dog. And this is the Pentagon dog. This is my dad. He was Pentagon.
I can see the family resemblance there. Yeah, okay. Well, I did want to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that you've been involved with. Now, you were one of the first artists that showed with a gallery called Semaphore back in Soho at the very beginning. Now, did you know Annie Heron as well then?
A lot. Yeah, I knew her really well.
You worked with Annie quite a bit. And
yes.
Were you also involved in the East Village thing as that took off? Were you running around over there and doing projects?
I was doing a lot of these. I remember when it started, and I was involved in Brooklyn and showing in big Brooklyn spaces. So when friends of mine from the East Village said, "Oh, you have to come over to the East Village where it's really starting to happen," I was like, "I don't know, man. I had to do little paintings for these little storefronts. I wasn't really that into it." And the next thing you knew, they were all like stars,
right.
Because everybody was paying attention to their, smaller works in those really cool spaces. And then they, of course, invited me over to be in a lot of shows.
Tell us about
the Monumental Show. Frank Schifrin organized it with his friend Michael Keane, and they got really big name artists to be in that show.
That was one of the first Brooklyn big time artist shows that really attracted a lot of attention over here, and you were involved in it as well?
I got to be in the show, and so everybody was into this kind of guerrilla style show, taking over a big space, filling it full of art, but cool, good, edgy art. I mean, it had Keith Haring, Komar and Malamud. From the older school, you had Carl Andre.
Oh, there are a lot of people. It was a very historical show. Now let's talk about some of the work you've got coming up for your new exhibition. Is there a title for the show?
Yes, Sentiment and Seduction.
Sentiment and Seduction.
Yes, because there's a sentimental aspect to my work. It looks back at my childhood. I think my work often does. My early work dealt with the Kennedy assassination, and that was in the early 80s.
And the White Papers book that you did that was very popular.
Right, and then I haven't drifted far afield. I've just changed sort of style and focus a little bit. But this is like probably even earlier than my time. It's sort of like a 50s classroom.
And then you've got a very kind of Lolita-esque Girl Scout there.
Yeah. So this painting is Hatari.
Oh yeah, the old movie with John Wayne.
A friend came to me and said that his mom performed striptease for his parents' friends. And I went over to his house and he showed me like his father's erotic Japanese art, and I thought they were fantastic. So I was.
This is when you were still a kid, or this
Yeah,
is?
I was a kid, and it was like, whoa, this is your mom? I mean, it's just like, it was a new world to me. But I also like Norman Rockwell. And
I noticed that the work has become much more illustrative
well, yeah,
in your last, say, 4 or 5 years. You've
really?
you've bumped up the kind of rendering that you do. Things are less cartoony, more, well, maybe based on that kind of 1940s, 50s illustration. Could we delve into the question of kitsch?
Yeah, I like kitsch. I have a good kitsch painting. I wanted to do the kind of painting that these people would own, like a little landscape, except I knew that I needed to do something.
Kitten hidden there in the sky.
Yeah, so what I did is I put little kitty cats.
Okay. Almost like the Cheshire Cat smiling in Alice in Wonderland, but it's in a kind of a cheesy,
Right.
Watteau-esque landscape. But you were talking about kitsch is hard to do. It's also kind of dangerous because you're in a position where you're doing bad art or, I don't know, maybe using bad taste. But then the whole question comes, when does that sort of shift into becoming accepted, becoming good taste? And so you're kind of always riding that ever-changing margin of between good and bad taste.
Well, I don't like kitsch when it's done as if it's bad art, and it's by knowing, the artist is above the kitsch.
So you're talking about kitsch.
Well, artists that are doing it because they think they're superior to it. I think what I do is I do it because it was the kind of paintings that are around in my house, and I love those things. I like going to malls and seeing like amateur art.
Right.
And there's a lot of love in those things. Why do people make those? And why would they paint the little sailboat with the little sailboat on the water? There's something that really resonates with people. So I don't want to do a sailboat as if those people are beneath me. It's more like I want to get into the same level of love that they have for the sailboat on the water.
But you're also putting kind of a little twist in there.
I twisted, but it's my taste. I'm from the middle class, suburban. I mean, I probably came from a kitschy.
Didn't we all?
Yeah.
What do you think about the sort of the group of figurative artists that have become prominent in the last 5 or 6 years? People like Lisa Yuskevich and John Curran and some of those people.
And Neil Rausch.
Neil Rausch, but he's a European.
Elizabeth Payton.
Yeah. How do you think you relate to those guys? I mean, I know that you've been painting for probably 25 years longer than those guys, or maybe more.
A decade longer, but I love their work a lot. I think they're great. But I do like. I'm excited by the figurative arts. I think it's great that happened, and it had to. People were very resistant to it in the 80s. That kind of narrative, sexually charged work. They just did not get it.
Thanks, Mike Cockrill, for letting us come by our studio and ask some investigative questions about your practice and what you got going. We're going to look for your opening, and when is it?
It's next Saturday. When this views, it may already be up, but it's at Kent Gallery, and it runs from April 11 to May 28.
I'm going to try to get back there and sneak in for the opening and embarrass you.
Please come by.
All right. Thanks, Mike Cockrill.
Thank you.
Heaven for little girls, they grow up in the most delightful way.
We're going to run in here for a look at Mike Cockrill's Sentiment and Seduction. Now that he's got it installed at the gallery. Well, evidently, I'm getting in on the very tail end of this opening here. At least we'll get a chance to take a look at how he installed the work. Oh, I didn't see this at the studio. This is titled Blue Christmas. This is a very abbreviated view of the installation of Sentiments and Seduction here at Kent Gallery. Thanks, Kate.